Hi everybody, Drew Monroe from Drew Cooks Catering in Vancouver. A lot of times I get asked what kinds of foods I like to cook for myself on my day off. So that's exactly what I'm going to be showing you today. This is braised beef short ribs with a fig cabernet sauce and celery root puree. It's one of my favorite dishes of all time. Alright, so I've got some nice sections of boneless beef short ribs, and just get your butcher to trim off the excess silver skin and the excess fat. We're going to season these up. Salt, fresh cracked black pepper. And the other thing we're gonna do, because we're gonna be browning them, we're just gonna dust these with a little bit of flour. The flour really helps get a nice crust and a nice browning on your short ribs. And it's a really important in braised dish to develop that golden crust on the outside to really build the flavor in your sauce. Perfect, these are ready to go. All right, now it's time for the most important part of this dish, and that is getting a nice sear on our beef short ribs. So I've got a nice hot, heavy bottom pan here. I've got a thin layer of oil. I'm gonna add in a touch of butter as well. Once that's melted, add the short ribs right away. All right, so after about 5 minutes, flip them over, and they should have this beautiful color on them. This is exactly what you're looking for. It's flavoring your sauce, and it's gonna give you a much better final product. After about 5 minutes on the other side, time to take the short ribs out of the pot. In the same pot, we're gonna add in some aromatics. Just some garlic, onions, celery, carrots, basic stuff. Soften these up a bit. I'm also gonna add in some dried figs. If you've got fresh, go for it. I'm using dried, they work just as well. And now for the Cabernet part of the Cabernet fig sauce. About half a bottle's worth. We're also gonna add in about 1.5 cups of good beef stock. Once that's all in the pot, we're actually gonna add the beef short ribs right back in. Once the short ribs are back in the pot, bring it to a boil. Once it's boiling, turn off the heat altogether. I'm gonna show you guys a little trick here. We're gonna be using a parchment paper lid instead of an actual lid. So cut it out to the size of your pot and place it right on top. Got my oven preheated, 325 degrees. We're gonna throw it in there for 3 hours until these short ribs are just falling apart. All right, let's talk about the celery root. It's definitely not gonna win any vegetable beauty contest, but it's a great low-carb substitute for potatoes, so treat it exactly like you would a potato. We're just gonna take the ends, cut them off, and we're just gonna use a vegetable peeler to peel away this outer layer. Do that to the other one as well. Then we're just gonna cube it up. All right, and we're gonna throw it in a pot of boiling salted water for about 25 minutes until it's soft, and then we're gonna mash them with butter, cream, and a bit of fresh herbs. The next step is to puree the figs and the aromatics into our sauce. So we're gonna take our beef short ribs out of the pot, get your trusty hand blender out, and just puree it until it's nice and even. I'm gonna put it back on the heat for just a couple more minutes to heat it through, and then we'll be ready to go to the plate. All right, I cannot wait to plate this up. Let's see how we're gonna do it. We've got this rosemary celery root puree that we did. We're gonna go right into the middle of the plate with it. Take a couple nice pieces of our braised beef short ribs, just falling apart tender, and place them right in the middle like so. For a simple garnish, I just sauteed up some portobello mushrooms and a little bit of red wine. And now, our gorgeously reduced fig cabernet sauce all over top of everything. And for just a splash of color, a bit of Italian parsley, just to finish the dish off. All right, braised beef short ribs, one of my favorite things to cook and eat on my days off. If you want to cook it on your day off too, check out the full recipe, www.drewcooks.com. Now, if you'll excuse me, I am starving.